What is up, guys? We should be live now. Let me know if you can hear me. How is everyone doing? I'm excited to be here, be live. It has been quite a while since I did one of these, but I am very excited. We got a lot of fun stuff to cover. See, we got a bunch of comments already, so I will get to everyone so far. If you have any questions, as always, drop those and I will get to them. Man, it feels good to be live. It's been a long time. It's tough. I really wanted to get these a little bit more consistent, for sure. Let me know. Can you guys hear me okay? See me okay? I guess I can check. Let me see. Sounds like we have audio. Looks like we're not too laggy. Sweet. Mike, how you doing? Looking forward to our lesson tomorrow. So, Card Trick Academy, welcome, my friend. Appreciate all the support. I definitely recognize your comments. Boxer Boy, what is up? How you doing? Who else we got in here? Jalen, always appreciate you. Leonard, how you doing? All right. Hope everyone is doing well. It is a beautiful beautiful Saturday. Sorry. Here, I wanted to have the blinds open so you could see the beautiful views I have of downtown Toronto here in Canada. But unfortunately, the lighting, I'm getting a lot of sunlight in right now, and it would basically completely blur me out of the shot. So unfortunately, I have to close these a bit. I guess you can see a little bit of the building. It's kind of foggy right now, though, on the outside of the window. But I got a decent, nice view. You can see the water if you look that way. But yeah, I'm doing good, guys. Thank you for asking. See if we got any pressing questions at the moment. Nice. Okay, I see a nice little conversation we got here. Yeah, turn this into a group chat. So Jalen, you still have some card tricks coming soon? You mean like more tutorials? Definitely more card trick tutorials if that's what you're referring to. If you're referring to street magic, yes, it's a little bit cold here. We just got hit with like 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters of snow. So like this. So I can't exactly do card magic in the street at the moment, but once it gets a little bit nicer outside, that will definitely be happening. What else? Texas in the house. I like it. Okay, I see. All right, I think I'm pretty much caught up. So when did I start magic? I'm going to assume that's a question for me, unless you're unless it's part of your conversation. But I started doing magic when I was like maybe 6 years old. And I have this book right here we're going to talk about in a minute. If anyone has ever heard of this book, the Little Giant Encyclopedia of Card Magic, let me know, because there's quite a bit of a story behind that, and that's one of the things that actually got me into magic. By the way, if you hear that noise, the laundry machine is on. I apologize. It's a little bit loud. I hope the mic doesn't pick it up too much, but it should be almost done. So... yeah, anyway, I started magic when I was like 6-ish. If you've never heard the story of the Jack of Hearts tattoo and why I have the Jack of Hearts all over the channel, pretty much in every thumbnail, if you go back and look, you should see the Jack of Hearts in pretty much every thumbnail that has playing cards in it, I think. I tried to do that at least. So, fun little Easter egg hunt maybe. But... yeah, I started when I was like 6. My grandfather, that's the story behind the Jack of Hearts, so he showed me just a simple card trick. It's the one where, I don't exactly remember, but you have someone pick a card, put it on top of the deck, and then you go behind your back and you say, I'm going to try to find it, and what you do is you flip that card face up, pull another card up jog, and you say, is this your card? And they'll say no, but meanwhile you're just staring at the actual identity of their card. Then you say, okay, let me try again. And you can kind of flip over their card, maybe get it wrong a second time, but now you know the identity. And it's actually fairly fooling, but I remember that trick. Okay, glad to hear you can't hear the machine. That's good. It means we're getting some decent audio. Anyway, he showed me that trick, and I honestly wish I could remember more clearly. You know when you're like 6 years old and around that age, it's very difficult to have any kind of memories. And so I do my best to try to remember exactly how I got into magic, but it is very difficult to remember. But I do recall, you know, getting some magic kits from my parents, and now I don't know if that was like something that they got me one just to see, and then I kind of showed some interest, but I'm pretty sure I did show some interest already, and so they got me some of those. They got me some books, and then I just kind of started learning. YouTube was definitely a big learning block, or a big stepping stone in my journey. How old am I? I am 23. I was born in 99, so I am a 90s baby, just barely. Yeah. So, man, what was I thinking about? What was I talking about? Yeah. So then I had some books and YouTube, and I just kind of caught the bug. And, you know, I honestly, did not perform for a long time. Like I'd show my family, a lot of my family members knew, of course, and all that stuff. But in high school, I was definitely, you know, I was definitely a confident person. Like I wasn't shy, but when it came to the magic thing, I was very shy about that. Like I didn't share it with anyone. I definitely wish I did. That's a big regret now. If you're in high school, definitely try to show your friends. I think that's a great time to do it. And a lot of people love magic, you know, especially in the younger crowd. So, yeah, and then at some point I just kind of decided to, you know, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm good enough, let me start performing, you know, trying to turn a little bit of a business out of it. And then the YouTube thing over COVID, I was just like, you know what, I feel like I have a lot to share, let me start making some videos. Will I be doing a giveaway too? I do have a giveaway planned, not in this live stream, but I definitely have one planned coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Credits to you, I'm doing awesome and pulling a lot of girls in college. Well, I'm glad for you, Songs Fast Official. Good for you, buddy, keep it up. You know, I don't know if magic, if you're referring to by using magic, then, oh yeah, credits to you, okay. So you're saying credits to magic? Okay, I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Well, you know what? Hey, if it works for you, I'm kind of, this is such an interesting topic, and it's funny how much I get this from like the lay audience, right? Where they say, oh, you must get a bunch of girls doing this. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I can say yes or no, because it's definitely something that's very unique and can stem interest, but it can be very like a nerdy thing, right? And it depends on the, like, some people really think it's really cool, really fascinating, but I can't say we're at a point where everyone thinks it's cool. So it's kind of a thing you gotta tiptoe. So like, I generally don't bring it up. I just let new people I meet kind of discover it on their own, and if they want to see something, they can ask me. And sometimes it's a pro, sometimes it's a con, but it is interesting how much lay audiences, that laundry machine's getting damn loud. Anyway, it's amazing how much lay audiences, at least in my experience with me, tend to think that it helps. I hear that literally all the time. And I think, I don't know if it's something to do with just me, like my personality, because I can imagine if you're like a extremely antisocial type and you're struggling, then they may not make that correlation, you know. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. It is a very interesting topic. When did you get into mentalism? Interesting. So yeah, I pretty much exclusively did card magic when I was young, and then I guess a little bit like the little stupid routines from the magic kits. I remember this one, cups and balls. Like, I've never liked cups and balls, but I remember doing this in front of my class in grade 6, so I would have been like 12. And it was like cups and balls, the classic. But then I love the one, there was this one phase where you take 2 balls, I think, maybe disguised as one, but they thought it was one, but it was 2. I don't remember. And you'd shove one, like, you'd have to wear jeans, and there's like this little, I don't know how to explain it. I guess I have to show you. There's like this little thing in jeans, like up in here in the pocket, and you could like shove it in there, and then you could like reverse the pocket, like, you know, reverse it, take it out, and show that there's nothing in it, because the ball would stay hidden in that area. and then I could like make it appear like it appeared in my pocket. Anyway, I remember doing that. So yeah, so I did that when I was young, and then mentalism has only been like probably like the last 4 or 5 years. Honestly, I guess it reignited my passion, right? I had felt like I was at a point, of course not an expert, or there's always endless things to learn, but I felt like I was at a good point where I could like do what I needed to do in Magic, and I learned so many tricks, and I had like crafted like my repertoire and what I liked, and I just needed something new. And I felt like mentalism would be something that, first of all, it really intrigued me, and I felt like it was something that I could really sink my teeth into and add to my repertoire. And then I started to realize, like, as a performer, what my goals were, and I felt like mentalism fit that really well. And I think that's an important thing, to try to figure out what your goals are as a performer. So for me, I realized like how much more mentalism can touch people in a way, like you can make it so much more personal, and I wanted to have that. So I really just and another big goal for me was to try to make Magic appeal more to a younger audience, right? I think like around my age, you know, I don't mean like kids, but like my age and stuff, and to try to make it, if possible, to seem more cool, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not to come across as like corny, you know, rabbit out of the hat stuff, like really like stuff where you can build a connection and people are truly invested. And I feel like a lot of my street magic videos, you can see kind of how I've been able to sort of achieve that, right? Make it like kind of like a David Blaine style thing. Of course, he's a huge inspiration for me. And so anyway, mentalism really fit into that well. And then I realized like I have a good brain for creating and thinking about mentalism, so that kind of helped as well. Any advice on getting gigs? A very tough question, man. Like, honestly, perform as much as you can. My philosophy on this is just be a yes man. Never say no when it comes to performing, even if you don't feel like it, and someone just, you know, knows you do magic and asks to see a trick. Just do it. You know, really just do your absolute best to just show them something quick. You know, it'll make their day, and you never know what kind of gigs or anything can come from that. Depends what you're trying to do. Like if you're looking to get more parties, you want to start performing more socially and spreading through word of mouth. If you want to do more restaurants, you're going to have to start approaching restaurants and asking that sort of thing. Corporate events, you definitely want to look at like making a website and trying to become more official, because, you know, that's obviously something they're looking for, and like running ads and things like that. So it depends what your target audience is. This is still something I'm working on and learning as well, though. So, you know, I'm probably definitely not the best source to ask on this, but that's some of my advice. How to handle hecklers? Oh, I see my boy Ash is in here. Hi Reed, I'm a long-time subscriber from India. Please say my name out loud. I'm #1 fan. Ash, you're a troll. Yeah, anyway. You made me laugh. How to handle hecklers? What's the difference between lay people and a heckler? So a lay person is just someone who is not in the know, right? Someone who doesn't know about magic and secrets and isn't a magician, basically. And then a heckler can be a magician or a lay person, I suppose, but it's just someone who makes it very difficult for you to perform, whether they're bothering you or they are, you know, causing you issues. Maybe they're like grabbing at your deck and lying to you about what card they chose. Like someone who's just trying to not make you do well. Maybe they don't like you, they don't like magic, whatever the case happens to be. What is your request? Yo, Ollie, my boy, how you doing? Good to see you. I appreciate it. I am doing well. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, it's been a while, man. Shoot me a message sometime for sure. Your request. Can you please do a tutorial on Midas Touch, please? I really want to know that, please. Unfortunately, no, I cannot. That is Peter Turner's effect, so you can go pick that up on Illusionist. It is in the How to Control Minds kit. Definitely an expensive project, but that is a reputation maker of a trick, so if you really want to learn it, it is definitely worth it. He did put out a booklet on it years ago, but I don't really think it's available anymore, so I think that's your only real way to learn it. But it's well worth the investment. Unfortunately, I can't teach it. Did I go to Blackpool? No, I did not. I would have loved to go to Blackpool, and it's something that I want to do someday, but you know, at the time in my life right now, it is difficult. But it's definitely in the next few years, I think I'd like to make it out there. It is, you know, far, of course, from me here in Canada, but I definitely want to make it. It looks like a great time, and I think I'd have fun. Sounds like it was great this year. You know, I've watched a few videos on it, so I'm definitely glad. If anyone here went to Blackpool, let me know. I'd be curious. Ash, can you teach us how to make the hose disappear and appear? Yes, okay. So to make the hose disappear, what you want to do is you want to take a card, okay? Show them the 10 of diamonds or any whatever card it is. Take this card, put it in their hand, okay? And then snap your fingers and have it change into another card, okay? Magic is the ultimate key, all right? The ultimate secret to getting the hose to run away. So just become a magician, Ash. I can teach you, and they will vanish. I'm kidding. But to make them appear, okay, you need to, you know what, I'm gonna, actually, you know what, I'll put out a download on that, okay? It's gonna come out at the end of the month. I'm working on this project. I call it the how to make, the how to control, no, that sounds terrible. I was gonna say how to control women kit. No, never mind. It's gonna be $400,000, okay, but it'll have all my secrets onto getting the hose, as you put it, Ash. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. It's totally worth the price of admission. Oh yeah, Ollie, okay, yes, I'll definitely hit you up on that whenever I make it out to Blackpool, bro. We'll link, and I'll stay with you. That'd be great. Okay, actually I have a show after a week and I can't afford that, so I really want to know, can you help me out in any way? Unfortunately, you'll have to talk to Pete. Again, it's not my effect to share, so you can send Pete an email. He's generally fairly responsive. That's the end of the laundry. Let's go. And so yeah, honestly, I see Ollie just pointed this out. Yeah, you won't learn it in a week. I talked about it in my propless mentalism video, or my top 5, and it's not easy. Okay, it is. Well, no, I did give it a high grading for being surefire, because it almost doesn't miss, but it is a lot of work to get down the scripting. The scripting is extremely important. Like if you mess up one word, it won't, you know, really work properly. Like there's just things that can go wrong. It is a very tricky routine, and it's very hard to practice because you can only do it like once on a group of people, and then it just won't have the same effect if you do it a second time because of the way it's all layered. Are you doing some more gambling tricks? You know what, I don't do a ton of gambling tricks. Like re-swindled is the main trick that I do that's gambling related that I really like to do. Honestly, I feel like a good portion of magic tricks is just about the framing. At least card tricks, you can flip the frame of the trick to make it gambling, right? Like if you think of like a little transposition where you're doing a double lift, like I think I actually just taught this, my handling on it, and you give someone the card, and then you're like, you know, if I was a gambler, obviously I'd need to like learn how to, you know, hold out cards. Maybe I do something called, oh, there it goes, something called a palm, and I switch cards out, and you can talk about that. And then you can just say, but I've came up with this amazing switch that, you know, it's so quick, it's almost invisible, and then you do the transpo or something. Like, you just have to think about it. You know, any trick really can be framed as a gambling trick. So better drop that idea, chase them off with the sarcastic charm. Yeah, that's definitely, I talk about all the subtleties about that in the kit, so stay tuned. How to approach people. Okay, we'll start to get into some other stuff, some tutorials. I have a few things I want to share with you guys in a second. Almost got through all these questions here, so let's see. How to approach people on the street for street magic. Okay, there's a couple things. One, the cheat code is to have a camera, okay? Even if you're not filming for YouTube, or even if you don't want to film at all, but if you go through the trouble of having a camera, I'd highly recommend you film just to be able to watch yourself back and have the footage, even if you're not going to post it. But having a camera is the cheat code. Get one of your friends, come out with you with their cell phone and just act like you're filming it. You know, it's extremely, well, it's not extremely, but it's much more easy when I say like, hey, I'm a magician, I'm filming magic for YouTube, would you like to be in a video? Right? Because they see the camera, it's official. And in that moment, they have no idea that, you know, if I have 1 subscriber, or if I have 5,000 subscribers, if I have 1 million subscribers, right? So to them, there's an instant sense of credibility, right? So many times, like when I say that, people are like, oh my God, are you famous? I'm like, well, no, but you know, but there, you could tell people are already extremely interested. So that's the first thing, okay? And then honestly, you need to have a good, quick opener to establish your credibility, because that first trick is so important, right? If it goes wrong, you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. It's going to be hard to establish that credibility because to them, they don't know you, you're a stranger. But at the end of the day, most people are open to the idea of seeing magic, and so it's not too like risky for the most part. You just, you know, you kind of develop a sense about who's going to be a good group, especially when I'm trying to like film. You know, obviously I want to try to get people who are going to express their reactions and not just like internalize those, because of course it looks good on video, and that's part of the goal when I'm filming, right, is to make a good video as well. So you know, you kind of develop a sense for the type of people, and like just by, you can, you know, stand in a room and listen to people talk, observe them, and I get a kind of a sense, and then I approach that way. So there's a lot of different techniques, and at the end of the day, you just have to go in there, you know, fake it till you make it, you know, pretend you're confident if that's what it takes, and people will follow accordingly. Last question here, and then we'll get into some other stuff, but keep dropping questions, I'll get to them all. Do you think the hand stick is surefire? Did you already try it on a spectator? So I don't do the hand stick. No, I don't think it's surefire, and I even think when Pete he's one person I've seen it taught from, he even says, I believe, it's not surefire. Like, it's kind of one of those pseudo hypnosis things that, you know, you need to just frame as a test that may work, may not work, and I think that's the way to do it. I don't do it. I don't really see it being surefire. I mean, again, this is from someone who doesn't really perform it, so take that with a grain of salt, but that's my thoughts on that. So, all right, let's take a look here. What are some of the things? So, first, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about, give you some insight into some of the new videos we got coming. So I just dropped Mentalism 101 episode 6 on the center tear. Next video, we're going to have How to Make Your Magic Better, episode 15. Crazy. This is going to be talking about justifications, so the importance of them, how to create justification, and ultimately my theory on being able to, there's a justification for anything. There is, always. So that's going to be a very key video, especially if you're interested in creating magic and wanting to make your magic stronger, or making your magic better, the whole purpose of the series. Then I'm going to do a tutorial on the multi-card strike shift. So if you recall, I recently taught the strike shift, which is like a DPS straight into palm, the way I kind of handle that. So I'm going to teach that with multiple cards, so 3-4 cards. Then I have a small, or a gig video, a little sort of private group setting thing. It's going to be pretty awesome. There's some great magic in there, so another performance video, which I'm very excited to put out. That might be 2 parts, we'll see. I haven't quite edited all the footage yet. And then we will have another performance breakdown. So that's what is on the horizon in terms of videos. All right, I want to talk about Chat GPT and magic for a second, because I feel like every YouTuber, well, pretty much in every space, but even in the magic world, and their grandma has done a video using Chat GPT and magic. Now, it did occur to me early on, honestly, before too many people did it, about like ChatGPT, but and how I could use it. And you know, people kind of, I feel like, did all like the basic ideas, like, oh, create a magic trick, create a script, how do you do this trick, what do you know about magic? So I am still kind of interested. I don't know if there's like a market for it though, or like people are actually that interested in what ChatGPT has to offer. So let me know what you guys think. I want to try to create something creative. Like I've thought maybe like if I could have ChatGPT like script a a performance, or like, you know, because if you've watched any of the videos where they try to get it to create, and if you don't know, ChatGPT is a AI text software, so we can basically answer any question. So if I had it like script a trick or use the tricks that they give, which if you've listened to it, it still can't really develop a magic trick that actually works very well. It always has holes in it and things that just don't make much sense. So I thought it'd be a hilarious video if I actually went and like performed those for street magic. Man, that would be so tough, just doing horrible magic for people, but it would be definitely funny. But I don't know, again, is that even something people want to see? I don't know. So I'm gonna kind of keep thinking on that, but I'd be curious to know what you guys think of the whole ChatGPT craze, especially just like every YouTuber trying to use it in a video, which I understand. But also, ooh, okay, this is fun. So I'm gonna show you, so do you guys, this is my fake Omegle Skip. So if you know the website Omegle, that is the skipping screen. And the reason I have that, and I thought this was interesting, is if you've seen Behind the Screens episode 4, which I would very highly recommend you check out. It's basically a series where I do a sort of elaborate magic on Omegle, not like card tricks, but like elaborate stuff. And then I film it from a second angle, so you see like behind the screen of what the spectators are watching on this Omegle. And Omegle's like FaceTime with random people around the world, basically. And then I show you after how I did the trick. So in episode 4 was a ton of work, but basically we did like a bullet catch drop from, but like a jumbo version where we were dropping it. So we had the cards, they named a card, they were jumbo cards, and we dropped them out the second story window of my house. And then I did like a bullet catch where I like grabbed the card out of midair. So that's one of the effects. I did the anything box. So it's just a box, a giant box, and they named literally any object in the whole world. And then I just turn the box and that object is inside the box. So that was a lot of fun. And then I did the cleanest mind reading in the world, which is which is in fact the cleanest mind reading in the world, if you ask me. And it was very interesting. That was that one got a lot of interest, and if you've watched the video, then you'll know this fake skip was a very key thing. So essentially I was able to run, just to give you a bit more background into that effect, I was able to run this skip through my streaming software and then through Omegle using like a virtual camera. So basically, anytime you like skip someone on this website, that's what you see. You see the skipping wheel and then a new person pops up. And I thought like, okay, what if I could have someone else, like one of my friends, talk to this person, casual conversation, get a lot of information, and then they believe that we've skipped to end up with someone new, because there's like thousands, I think it's like 50 to 100,000 people on this website at a time. There's like a little thing. And basically, so this is funny. I was like, you know, when you skip, you're never gonna get the same person twice. But if we could get them to believe that it skipped and then like completely change the background and then I show up, it'll look, as long as we can mimic the skipping thing, it'll completely, you know, mimic that they've skipped, and they'll think it's someone new. Meanwhile, I've just been listening in on their entire conversation. I have all this info about them. So it took a lot of tries. You know, we'd have people skip us. We'd have, you know, things happen, right? We lost connection a couple times, but eventually we got a couple of really funny, awesome takes where, you know, I could name their names in the cleanest way, because to them, I literally just have met them now and I just guessed their names because, well, I was just listening in on their conversation. So we just, my buddy would be talking to them, we'd do the skip, rotate it, and then 90 degrees, and then this background would look completely different than where he was. And then I'd just show up and be like, hey, I'm doing some mind reading. So that was a whole lot of fun. So anyway, it's a great video, and I just thought it was cool for you guys to see what the skip looked like that I had full control over. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I wanna show you guys a few things that I've been working on. I get that question a lot, which is, what are you currently working on? And so I'm gonna share that, and we can also jump into a tutorial too. I have a few things that we can look over. So I want to say quickly, just got to do a quick plug. If you guys are interested in private lessons, please, check them out at the link below. Send me a message if you have any questions. I am, very excited. I love, working with you guys. Mike, who's in here right now, we've had a lesson together, and Mike, if you'd like to share your experience with the people, that would be awesome. But we got another one tomorrow, and I think it's if you guys are really struggling with something, getting one-on-one help is obviously the best way. And so you can check it out in the link below. Check out my website, and if you have any other questions, you can drop them here or ask me. Anything card magic, mentalism related. I can help you out with moves, effects, creating your own effects, working through issues you might have. So just wanted to say that real quick. I'd rather hear real person than a robotic narrative. Yeah, understandable. So, what do I want to talk about? Oh, did you guys see that Madison finally put out a street magic video today? Daniel Madison, I woke up and I was checking YouTube, and this guy put out a street magic video, which honestly, I kind of thought would never happen. I knew he kept saying it, but it's just been so long. And it's great to see people performing, right? I miss, guys like Chris performing, and that's why, for me, performing is so important. I always try to have live performances and lots of street magic videos, because, what are you doing it for if you're not performing at the end of the day? There are definitely some YouTubers on here who just don't perform. And it's very great to see him performing. What I did think was interesting, and now this is no shade to Madison at all. I love him. I would not be where I am without him. He has inspired me a lot. There was a phase, like many people, I think, where you dive into Madison's stuff and then you get so into palming and doing the gambler's cop and every single trick. And I remember that phase for myself too. But at a certain point you realize when you perform a lot, there are certain things that practically getting away with a gambler's cop in every scenario all the time makes it difficult. And then if you need to have a bunch of routines that are some I can only do in this situation, some I can only do here, it just gets very convoluted and confusing. So it was interesting to see that a lot of the material that he performed, and again, he kind of, for a lot of the stuff, only showed the last half / the reaction portion of the trick, which I think is totally fine. I would like to see more of it, of course, but I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. He's, kind of method protection a little bit, and I understand all that. And so it was very cool to see, but what I thought was interesting, and again, this isn't a knock, but he did a lot of just the classics. He didn't do a whole lot of his material that he teaches, and from what we could tell, again, he didn't show much of the performances, but most of those tricks, I don't see why he would have needed to use a gambler's cop or anything like that, which is obviously what he talks about all the time. And it was just interesting to see how when he's actually out there performing, he's resorting to two-card Monty, transposition. What else did he do? Just a simple double lift card switch, when he did that voodoo thing, and then just some simple gimmicked cards. I thought that was very interesting, and it says a lot about some of the things I preach about simplicity on this, and I think it's great. I'm not saying that that's my advice to people, and a lot of the stuff I do is also simple, but you take it in different ways. I think the most difficult thing I do that's in my repertoire is a cull, like I can cull the whole deck and stuff, or half the deck I guess it is. So I do that for my Triumph and stuff. But at the end of the day, it was just very, very fascinating to see. So I'm very glad he put it out. I'm excited to see more and see if maybe he will get into more of some of the material that he's created and taught here on YouTube. But it's just interesting. He did like just a basic transpo. He didn't do like his mad transpo or any of those things that involve Omegle Skip. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Next time my family comes over, I want to perform more of a mentalism routine. How do I get them to believe it's not card magic but mentalism? So that's all with the framing. Like, you need to get away from the cards if you can from the start. Like, if you want to do something that's mentalism but involves a card, just make it feel hands off and make the experience like the cards are just the vessel rather than the thing doing the magic, right? So try to keep the sleight of hand to a minimum, or things that are like very inconspicuous, like double lift and something like that. And then just really make it all about the frame. Even throw in a few like subtle misses, right? So if you're just doing a divination and they're thinking of like the 6 of spades, maybe at first get the color wrong, because if you were actually reading them, right, you might get something wrong. If you just had seen the card and used sleight of hand to see it, why would you get something wrong, right? So little things like that. But look at some of my Mentalism 101 videos. I think episode, I don't remember what episode it is, but I talk about like your having a process and building your character and that sort of thing, and those videos I think could be really helpful to answer your question. What do you think the best version of any card at any number is? The Asai Win version is very difficult, requires a lot of memorization and math. Yes. So to me, most people think that's the best version, and this is a very interesting conversation because well, first of all, what does it really matter? Do which one you like, but let's entertain the question because I understand why we do it as magicians, right? Okay. What makes a good any card at any number? Well, it depends on your thing. And I think a lot of people give a lot of credit to Aussie Wins because it's not gimmicked, right? Which I do agree with. I am a big fan of no gimmicks. I'm a big fan of regular deck magic. That's pretty much all I do. So I'm going to hold a lot of weight personally to that as well. Okay? So, what I think a lot of people miss, and a lot of people give Aussie Wind the credit for having the best ACAN, which it is fantastic, of course. But I personally do not give it the best, and I don't perform it because a big category for me that is very important, and I think to a lot of people, but for some reason, most people kind of overlook this when it comes to his, is difficulty and like kind of practicality. Like his is fairly practical, right? All you need is a card box with the, never mind, I won't say. But if you know, you know. And so that's easy to do, but it's not, it's a lot of math. I mean, I'm an engineer, so math is definitely not an issue for me. But still, I understand how it is for a lot of people, and it's just not, I do some tricks that involve some mental math and stuff, but it's just not that accessible, I find, to a lot of people. So for me, that's why I don't hold it as the top, So it's a great one, though. It's for different people. If you already know a stack, then perhaps go for it. For me, my favorite ACANs are the one I do, and the ACANs that I do are my own. Okay, so my favorite ACAN is nothing I've taught yet. I might at some point, or I might put it out in a project coming soon. But it's called, it's hard to say. It looks cool when it's spelled, but it's called like J30 CAN, right? So like a letter J and then the number 30 and then CAAN, right? And You can find a performance of it in my Magic with Friends video, the one that's like Tattoo A Can is in the title. And basically, it is a complete force. So there's no free choice. And I have came up with a very clever like system, just using some basic-ish techniques, equivoque, some psychology, things like this. And if you've watched my video on verbally forcing any playing card, it uses a bunch of techniques from that. And I just force a number and force a card. And so the deck is already set up it's just so clean. The spectator can do all the dealing. It truly feels like a freely named number and a freely named card because of the way it's handled. But then, because I know beforehand what it's going to be, I can literally do any kind of prediction, right? I can have all this stuff predicted. I can have the number predicted, the card predicted, because I know every time what it's going to be. And for me, the reason it's J30 is, well, because of the, let's see if we can get that to show this lighting here. Anyway, I got the Jack of Hearts and the number 30 tattooed here. And honestly, these were not tattooed for that. The Jack of Hearts is for my grandfather. He got me into Magic because I don't think I finished that story, but his name's Jack, and you know, I love him, so heart. So that's why Jack of Hearts is my favorite card. And then 30 is my dad's football number. I'm a football player, and so we kind of bonded over that when we were young. You know, all my tattoos have a story, but we bonded over that when we were young, and so that's obviously important to me. And then I was looking at this one day on my finger. I was like, A can. And then I kind of came up with that trick because of this. So yeah, so that's my favorite. And I also have one that I'm working on. It's really, really good. Really, really good. In my opinion, of course. Regular deck, completely thought of, and card never said out loud, never written down. Just think of a card that you see, basically, and they can name any number. It's great. It's great. So at some point, if you stick around, at some point I'm hoping to put that out this year. So sorry, that was a long ass ramble. I try not to ramble too much, but I do. Do I perform Burn? I do not. Yeah, card transfer, basic doubles. Congrats, Ollie, on 1K. It is definitely a grind. I am excited to see you go live. Mike, I appreciate that. Reed's very patient, down to earth. He showed me how to do a center tear. It was more helpful than all these videos I watched. Yes, we had a great lesson. I appreciate that. Ben Earls, A-Can. Which one is that, Ollie? Which one are you referring to? Because I know he has a few, but you'd have to refresh my mind. Okay, what does your shirt mean? My shirt. Zach, you know exactly what the heck my shirt means. Ottawa Red Blacks, the professional football team in my hometown of Ottawa. Okay, let's, I want to show you guys something, and then we'll get back to some questions here. So let me see if I remember how to do this. I think I hit this one while we transition. This is how fancy the production is here. Or I try to make the production. Look at that. Woo! Pretty nice, eh? I'm going to zoom out just a little more. So I want to share with you guys, people always ask me, what am I working on? You know, what are, stuff like that. So there's a few little things, or I'm always working on things. A couple of these I'm really excited about, and they still need some more work. They still need some more road testing. But a couple of them I am planning to teach at some point because I think they're really good. So I want to share one of those with you right now. If you guys have a name for what this effect is. Right now it's kind of like twisting the kings, kind of. But I think there could be a better name out there because it's kind of a twisting the aces type thing. But then I think it has a really neat sort of ending. So I'm going to share that. Also, I've been thinking about this idea. It's very, very weird, and I have no idea if it'll have any use, but I think you guys should try it out. So take your hand, and if you place it on the table flat like this and kind of spread out your fingers, and if you come in between your where is it? Hold on. Yeah, okay, so in between your middle finger and ring finger, and you come right down to about this area on your hand, there's this muscle, okay? or it might be a tendon, I'm not positive, but if you press on it, it's very weird, but if you press on it, if you relax your hand and you press on that area, just kind of move around a bit till you find it, but you feel like someone is poking the palm of your hand. It is super weird, and I don't know how I discovered this, but I was just sitting one day and I hit this and I was like, whoa, it literally feels like someone is just poking. Anyway, I was just thinking about this. It's a very strange idea, but I was like, imagine the weird things, or like the sort of, I don't know. This is just an idea that I had that I thought if, I don't know how I'm going to use it, but I'm going to try to use it for something, because it's super weird if you can get it. I don't know if you guys will be able to replicate it, but I have been able to replicate it on others, so I know it works. But anyway, so let's look at this effect. So of course, it would be better if I had someone here. And this is a regular deck effect. Of course, we are going to do a tutorial in a second, so stay around for that. Okay, I'm going to use this deck as our spectator, kind of. All right. Yes, Zach, of course. Why didn't I ask you, buddy? Oh, Zach, Zach is my buddy. He's in med school right now. Zach, can you explain this? Why when I push on this, like, can you replicate this, Zach, at home? Like, try it. Like, if you push, it's like right here, and it literally feels like something is like poking my palm right here. Can you explain to us what is exactly going on here? Because I would love to know. Anyway, so let's take a look at this trick. So it is a regular shuffle deck, as of all of my stuff is, and we need them to select a card. So this is a genuinely freely selected card. So I will show you guys that card, and then you have them return the card face down, so the opposite way in the deck. Now we'll get back to that in a second. Before this trick, we need the kings. So let's go through, get those kings, there we go. Oh, and just, as a reminder, of course, there's your card, the only one that's face down in the middle of the deck. Just keep your eye on that. And then we have the last king. Now, there's a couple of things here. At this point, you can of course inspect the kings, take a look at them, make sure they're all normal and that sort of thing. But for this trick, it is going to involve the kings, and so hopefully it's pretty cool. Now, I'll leave this so you guys can see it. Okay. Let me see. So it's important that you guys know that I'm only using the 4 kings here. So we have the king of clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds. Okay. Now this is going to happen very quickly, and I'm going to do something that they don't often tell you to do in Magic, right? You don't want to let the spectators know where you're going, or you don't want to show them the sleight of hand, the moves. But I'm going to show you exactly the move. So this is the move right here. Watch. And I know it doesn't look like much, but it actually turns over the first king. Now, some people think, I take the king, like the king of hearts, and I go like this, and they think that is what makes it happen. I'm distracting them by doing that. But no, seriously, it's just that move, and you get the next king to go. Now, this time I'm going to just push it through my hands like this, but again, watch, I just do the move, and just like that, now the king of hearts has flipped over. Now, I want to take us back to the moment where all the kings were facing the same way, right? So now we have all the kings facing the exact same way. And I want to take this up a notch, okay? I don't just want a random card to flip over when a card is named. I want whatever king you name to flip over, okay? Whatever one you want. So I'll cut this deck over here, and whatever suit we get will be the king they name. So spade, perfect. So let's say you name the king of spades, right? And just like that, with the move, we should get the king of spades to flip over. I'm going to leave the king of spades there, and of course in my hand we have the king of diamonds, king of hearts, and the king of clubs. And we'll take those kings, we no longer need them, and we'll leave them in the deck. So we have the king of spades here, and I'm going to try something crazy. You remember at the beginning, right? At the beginning you selected a card, right? And I think it was the 4 of clubs or something like that. And now here we have the king of spades. Watch, so I'd have you put your hand on this, right? You can put, whatever. I won't go anywhere near this. Think about this. This card has been here the whole time, that king of spades. It hasn't went anywhere near the deck. But watch, if I take the cards, give a snap, just like this, actually, let's do it this way. Just like this, you see now that one card, if we go through, has now flipped over, right? And you can see that's the only card, and you can look through this. It's the king of spades, which means that this card over here must be the 4 of clubs. So, what do you guys think? That is something I've been working on recently. I think it's a very powerful effect. I think the way that it kind of draws you in to the twisting of the kings, kind of, really makes this ending very, very surprising. There's a few moments in the handling that I still think can get a little bit better, so I am still potentially considering refining that. But for the most part, I am very, very happy with this. So let me know what you guys think. If you like that effect, if it's something you'd like to learn, I am definitely a big fan of it, and I just think the transpo at the end, because they just saw the King of Spades, right? And it's such an open display that is the king, and then it never needs to come back near the deck to do the final reveal. And that card has obviously been sandwiched in between the cards the whole time. I think it's just really, really strong. So I'm definitely a big, big fan of that trick. Of course, pattern needs work too, but I think it is pretty great. So let me know what you guys think. I'd be curious to know. Let me see what you guys are saying. Your muscle might be hitting the inside part of your skin on the palm surface, maybe activating those pressure sensing cells. So overall pressure within the compartment space. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense. How much of your ink is forces? Literally, I have no magic related tattoos besides like the Jack of Hearts, and then like this is developed into a trick, but like none of these were tattooed to have anything to do with magic besides, I guess, kind of this one, but it's more for my grandfather. But I can use some of them as magic, and I'm not opposed to getting some one day, Yeah, it's kind of a different version to the Biddle trick. Yeah, no, I agree. It has elements to it in a way. Definitely, actually, that's actually not a bad idea for the name if you do some kind of spin-off of the Biddle trick. I always thought twisting the aces, but honestly, it might be a little bit closer to the Biddle trick too. Twisting the Biddle. That sounds very questionable, so maybe not that name, but... Okay, what else did I want to share? See, I have this other trick. I just don't know how well it's going to be able to go over camera. It needs 2 spectators, right? So it might get kind of convoluted. So I don't think that's worth sharing at the moment. Okay, do we like the idea? I wanted to talk about this book a little bit. So this book, The Little Giant Encyclopedia of Card and Magic Tricks. This was a book, the first magic book I ever got. It is this giant book packed with all kinds of wild old tricks. And honestly, it's been a long time. As you can see, it's pretty beat. But it's been a long time since I've went through it. And I thought it'd be cool to, just learn a trick from it. There's a bunch of like non-card related tricks, but we'll obviously look at the card magic section. So here, why don't you guys give me a page number? I'll give you a range, and then we'll see if there's anything cool in here. So card tricks go from page 41 to 250. So give me a number between 41 and 250. Whoever gives me the first number. While we wait on that, let me see if we have any other questions. There was a question about something I saw earlier I hadn't answered. How do I create a routine? So routines usually stem from like either a trick that I want to achieve or a move I want to turn into a trick. And then it's about playing with those things until they kind of meet together to create whatever routine or whatever trick it is. Like sometimes I just have a premise or something that inspires a trick or routine, or sometimes I just have a move that I think could be useful, and then I try to create a trick out of it. So for example, the twisting the king's idea was honestly, I think, just me playing around with I've never done a twisting the aces trick, so I don't really know any methods. So I was just like thinking about oh, how would I do it? And I was playing around with it, and then I realized there's an ability to hide another card in there, and then it kind of all fell into place, right? And then, you know, I still need to find some better pattern for it, I think, and stuff like that, but I do have a video, I think, on creating a routine in my How to Make Your Magic Better series. So, routine building, yeah, I think it's like an earlier one, like maybe episode 4-ish, somewhere around there. Favorite mentalism principle? It's got to be the Cups principle by Michael Murray. I absolutely love it. I don't know, it's simple, but it's just so ingenious, and I use it a lot. It's a very simple way to just get like an idea of what kind of type of word or length of word they're thinking of, and so I absolutely love that. I've always been very fascinated by that principle. Okay, so 128. Sorry, Zach, you were too slow, buddy. So we're gonna go page 128. Let's see what we got. Hopefully it's not shit. The cut, oh god. Oh, I think we just cut to the cross-cut force. Yeah, that, so this is what we got, guys. We got what appears to be the cross-cut force. They call it the cut force. So, let's try 44 then. Throw a few other numbers in case 44 does not work. Because the cross-cut force, I'm hoping that every one of you know, and you know, that's not going to be that exciting. Okay, let me refine this, because I just am realizing that Tracy using key card. What was that? Okay, no, I mean, we just got unlucky. I think we've literally just cut to a key card trick. So give me another number, because Pack is cut in two. Spectator and performer each take a half. They both choose a card from the spectator. Mysteriously come together. Okay, this is like slightly different, but okay. So it says the effect: the pack is cut into two. The spectator and performer each take half a pack. They both choose a card from their respective piles, look at them, and return them. Then the piles are combined, and the two selected cards mysteriously come together. So kind of like a do as I do, maybe. Okay, preparation depends on the glimpse. So we are using a key card with the bottom card. So allow the spectator to shuffle and cut the deck in half. Get the spectator to give you one half of the pack. Each of you shuffles your cards. Let's say that counts as a shuffle. Ask the spectator to remove any card from her pile, look at it and remember it. Say you will do the same. Look at the card you have selected but make no attempt to remember it. Instead glimpse the bottom card of your pile. So 3 of clubs. Make no attempt to remember it. Or sorry, that will be your key card. Each of you places your selected card on top of your pile. So we each place our card on top. So I guess mine would be the random card that I'm not remembering, goes on top. Now place your pile on top of the spectator's pile. Doing so puts your key card on top of theirs. Ask the spectator cut the deck twice to lose both cards. Now explain. Mine was, you surprised when my card came next to yours. Yeah, so it's okay. This is kind of very simple, but you know, now the 3 and 5 will be together. So let's hopefully find something a bit more exciting here, because that was just like, okay, key card. See, so there's a lot of basics, but I know there's some good stuff in here too. Oh, this is that bar bet trick where you use the key card and then you're like flipping through, and then, you know, say their card's the 9 of diamonds, and you say, you know, would it be good if the next card I turn over is the 9 of diamonds? And they say yes, or is your card, sorry, and they say yes, and then you come in here and you're like, haha. Okay, I'm gonna pick one, because so far you guys suck at choosing numbers. I'm just kidding. Should we do a math trick? Okay, here, I'll let you guys, do we want to do a math trick? Because those can sometimes be kind of cool. Or card novelties. That sounds interesting. Tricks using sleight of hand. That could be interesting. Okay. Let me look at the math one, see if there's any good. Oh, the magic sequence. I feel like I remember this. Okay, while I'm looking here, let's see what kind of questions we got. Because I know there was another one. Last thing I answered was my favorite mentalism principle, I think. Do you have a character when you perform, or are you being you? I definitely have a character. Let me angle this up. Ooh, super zoomed. Hey guys. Oh, wrong way. Okay. I definitely have a character. Like the people who see me perform, who are my friends, they know that it's not, that I'm different, right? I'm not super different, but there's certain like things that, it's so hard to explain. I'm very much, you know, genuine to myself, but I have more, you know, like I'm performing, right? I have more maybe charisma. I try to be more, this is so difficult to explain. For the most part, okay, I'm me, I'm acting like me, but there's definitely a switch where I'm a bit more, you know, I can take control of the situation. I'm a bit more, I'm always pretty confident, so it's not really that, but there's like a veil of like confidence that I put on to really like, you know, sell these things, and just really like my goal is about entertainment and the audience. And so there is definitely a bit of a character, and I always think you do want to have a character. Definitely like mentalism, like I'm not the type to say like, oh yes, I'm, you know, I have a portal into your mind, real mind reading, but I'm also not the type to say, no, it's all a trick. Like I try to keep it like ambiguous, and I say like, oh, it's techniques, like, you know, my psychology and all those kind of things. So the winner is a freely named card, calls it, palms it, has a spectator countdown on his hand, then adds it. Oh, that's a nice idea, Ollie. I don't think I've seen that one actually. Have you heard of Iceberg? I have heard of Iceberg. That's the one. Yeah, I think I know which one that is. It's not bad, but if I remember, it takes quite a bit of a setup, I think, or a special deck. But I think it's just a setup. Get some water here. Whew. Thank you. Glad you guys enjoyed the trick, by the way. All right. What do you think the best pass we can do in Street Magic, especially if your spectator is videoing? I don't really use the pass, but when I do, it's probably just a classic pass, but sloppy, you know, just something like that. Like I don't try to hide it much. Like if I wanted to hide it much, yeah, I could do something kind of more like that, right? Like that was kind of slow, but like just like that. Where, what's that, 7 of clubs, and then you kind of come forward. Oh, that was shit. It's hard to do kind of up here, but you know what I mean? Like come forward like that and hide that a bit. But it's always something for me that I just kind of do like as a non-moment. So I keep looking over here because I see myself over here big, but I forget the camera's over there. I just kind of do like in a nothing moment. I haven't really taught the classic pass. I think I talked about it in a live stream because I have some philosophies on it. But it's I definitely, you know, in terms of like if someone's trying to burn your hands, I definitely prefer, well, that was a turnover pass. I meant to do a Herman pass or a turnover pass. But honestly, there's what trick is it where I do the classic pass just because it's easy. So it's like I have like a spread for whatever reason, and then I close and I want to pass this, and it's just the easiest thing there, but I literally just kind of go like this, right? You can condition them by just kind of playing with the cards like this. So you just, you know, you'd say, hey, okay, so I'm going to try something here. You can even do a swing cut and just go like this. Say, okay, we're going to try something here. Actually, you know, think of a card, whatever. Then I close it and I just say, okay, perfect. So now you have a card in mind, and, you know, I pass that card or that section of cards. So if, you know, there's a camera on you, again, you can try to be more covert, but you got to be aware, like, especially if you're letting your spectators film you, which I do. Like, I'm not the type to be like, hey, no, you can't film me, you know, because I'm filming them. But just be, you know, a bit more cognizant of your angles and things like this, like who's watching you, you know, where their eyes are, where they're looking. So there's these things that, you know, are the way they are, but at the end of the day, it's honestly not a huge deal. They don't really know what they're looking for, especially when they're looking back on the film. Like, yes, they can watch it over and over, but, you know, hopefully this doesn't explain, like, if you know, unless you're doing like an ambitious card where you're like, you know, I put your card in the middle and then they're watching on video and they see this and then you're like, watch it come to the top. Like, you know, maybe the pass isn't the best for that situation, but if you're just doing it as a control, like early on in the routine, you know, what does it matter? How do you put together a show? Gosh. For me, I pick my favorite effects, the things I'm most comfortable with, the things that I will think will come together the best, and then I look at structure of those things. So what is a good opener? What's a good closer? What should go at the beginning? What should go at the end? How do I want to fit the mentalism in with the card magic? So for me, I often have two separate segments, start with card magic and with mentalism. And once I've kind of ordered all the tricks, then if I want to think of like a premise. So my main show that I do is kind of like, it starts with card magic, ends with mentalism, and then I talk about like, basically the card magic sections I talk about, it's like I'm kind of giving them a peek behind the curtain. So I'm talking about like what happens when something goes wrong in a trick, and then I show them a trick within explaining that. I talk to them about, you know, why magicians use deck of cards so much. You know, I show them about like how to practice and how important like memory is. I kind of talk about like memorizing a deck of cards without, you know, necessarily saying stack, but I don't use stack, so, you know, it doesn't really affect any of the magic that I do, but I explain like, oh, this is a technique, and so it kind of feels like they're getting a peek behind the curtain. I find that really draws them in. And then my mentalism section, that's kind of when it takes a turn to like, okay, let me show you some weird mental experiment stuff that I can't really explain all of it, kind of type of vibe, you know. And I often close with like Midas touch, or I like to close with this Jack 38 can too, where you have that, and then I'll also do like another layered prediction if I can get like a deck of cards into the venue like a week or two beforehand that they can just sit on display. I like doing that. Do you have any visual effects that you do? Visual. I mean, I do some color changes, like, you know, I love doing the that one there, not the snap change, but the shapeshifter. I like doing that a lot. And I'm trying to think, visual though, like I don't do much with like fire just because I don't carry a lighter. Torn and restored, kind of like, yeah, I do like angle 0. I do stuff where they tear up the cards, like face off. So yeah, there's some visual stuff. Have you ever spent any time live discussing your size Stebbins card at any number? It's brilliant and worth taking time to learn. Ah, that's an interesting idea. I don't think I have ever done that live, but now that you mention that, I have revisited some of my other topics, some of the more complex ones on live. Like I've talked about the auto index, which is one of my favorite principles, and I've talked about that. So we could definitely look at that. Let me just think here what I could address on it, because I didn't have that plan. Let me take a look here. But definitely, that could be a very interesting thing to look at. I appreciate it, by the way, that you love it, because so do I. Let me write that down. And let me take a look. So, if you haven't seen that video, basically the Cy Stebbins video is about using the Cy Stebbins as a mem deck, because the Cy Stebbins is a it's a stacked deck, right? But it's not a memorized deck, right? It's just a sequence. So I talk about, like, like I said, I'm a math guy, so I talk about using math to make it so you can use it as a mem deck, so you can know the position of any card that is named right at any number, or any number named at any card. So I think the version that I have done, I haven't done this in a while, so hopefully I can remember it all, but you take one deck, you take two decks, one's in Stebbins, one's not. You basically have them both in a box. You use equivocate to force the one that's not in Stebbins, right? So then they have the one in Stebbins is inside the box. You just say, we need one deck, which one do you want to use? If they pick the one in Stebbins, you say, okay, hold on to that, keep it in your pocket. If they pick the other one, then you say, okay, open that box, and then take this one, put it in your pocket, right? So let's pretend the red one is in Stebbins. So they'll have the blue one, and then I tell them to, I think I have them pick 3 random cards. In my head, I then total up those cards and determine what card is at the number in the Stebbins deck using my system. And then I just go through and show them the cards are different, call that card to the top, have them do a cross-cut force, then they add those cards up, deal down to that number in the Stebbins deck, and the cards match. So it is absolutely a great trick. But the main difficulty in the method is the Stebbins part. So I have a system that I haven't thought about this system in a bit. I haven't used that in a while, but I'll see if I can remember it all. Because it is a great system, especially if you don't want to go through all the work of memorizing mnemonic, or you're in the process and you still want to be able to do, because you can do anything, any stacked magic, well, most of it, with size Stebbins if you learn this system, right? Without having to memorize a deck, really. It takes some mental math, but it's not, I've tried to make it pretty simple. It's not too hard. Yeah, and I see, do you use mnemonica, and if so, how did you learn? No, I don't do any stack deck work. I don't have a stack memorized. It's just not for me, honestly. I don't find there's any effect to me that is, there's Mockingbird by Max Maven, which definitely makes me want to learn stack, but there's not enough effects that make me want to give up the amount of things that I love about an impromptu shuffled deck. And anything that I have found that requires mnemonica, I can always just think of a way to do it. Okay, maybe it's not as clean, but the spectators, if you do it right, they won't know the difference. So that's my thoughts. Okay, I just see my camera now. There we go. I think it's dead. Let me change the battery. Give me a sec. I think we're losing it. I don't know if you guys, let me know if you can still see me. I've got to check the stream. I think we just lost the visuals. Yeah, we did. Great. Okay, give me 1 sec. I will be right back. Okay, hopefully we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Battery issues. I'm still figuring that out. Sometimes my camera, like the power supply from the laptop, because it is. Oh, there goes. Okay, if you hear that annoying rattle, it'll stop in like a minute. But yeah, I'm having some fridge issues. I need to get my fridge replaced. So anyway, let me make sure this is all working. Okay. Anyway, sorry about the rattle. It'll shut up in like a minute or so. Basically, where was I? Talking about the Stebbins thing. So basically, you need to remember the Jack of Clubs, or the Jack of Clubs, Queen of Clubs, King of Clubs, and Ace of Clubs. Now, I'll definitely direct you to that video because there's a much more in-depth explanation. But essentially, hopefully the visual should be back now. I just saw someone said no visual. Anyway, but basically you remember just the positions of those 5 cards, which is like, I think the ace is 1, 4, 9, and 13, something like that. Again, it's been a while since I used it, but from there you can use very simple math to determine any other card in the pack, and then you just add up that basically those cycles of 13, and that'll tell you what that card is at that number, and then from that you can easily work backwards and figure out a number from a card or a card from a number. So definitely a worthwhile effect here. I will consider talking about it more next time we do a live, but I definitely need a refresher. I hated you for a long time because of the size Stebbins A can. I found myself randomly generating numbers and then double checking. I never thought I would use it in performance, but I do now. Awesome, man. That's so great to hear. Do you use the just the A can effect, or have you like adapted the size Stebbins thing for anything else? And I'm curious, what's your time? Like, how long do you figure it takes you when someone names a number and you're in the middle of performance? How long can you figure out? How long does it take you to figure out what the card is? I'm curious how fast you can actually get at it, because I don't feel like I'm okay at it, but I know there's a lot more room probably to even be better. Memory Shuffle by Peter Turner is insane, but I don't know if it's a stacked deck because the Spectator shuffles it. I mean, yeah, if they're shuffling under the table, maybe it could be, and he has some devious like things where it makes it seem like the Spectator shuffling under the table, but I'm not sure. The face you make when your screen is frozen. Yeah, I noticed that it was a pretty funny shot. Let me see if I can. Yeah, okay. Get my camera to show me how much battery we got left. Okay, we're full right now in the other battery, which is nice. Thoughts on Luke Germain. Luke has some great stuff. I love his one effect. I always forget the name of it. It's kind of a stage piece, but I want to do a version of it. I just have never got to it yet, where he has someone think of a red balloon, and then someone think of, I think, a city and something else, and then he's able to like divine all of those things in a very clever way. I know how it works from the trailer, but it's really, really cool. Thank you for your channel. I've learned so much and you are very inspiring. Mental image is my favorite effect I've learned from you. Yes, mental image is one of the favorite things I've taught on this channel, honestly. I remember when I came up with the idea for that effect, and I just used to spam perform it. I would just perform it all the time. I just really, really love that effect. It's just so great and so powerful, and just the way it combines mentalism and magic is just absolutely great. So let me know, guys, is there anything you'd like me to talk about here? Any last questions? Anything you'd like me to go into a bit more depth on at the card table? I didn't really get into much tutorials here. Next time I will because I need to spend a bit of time to actually find a decent trick in this book, because we opened to the crosscut force and a simple key card trick. So We'll try, and we're running at an hour and a half here, so next time I'll have one prepared, something that's actually like worthwhile teaching, because I hate to be that guy who just like comes on YouTube and teaches you guys painfully boring things, or things that you'll never use, or very like not that exciting or simple magic, which happens far too much these days. So I always try to provide things of value that I actually think are good. Do you do a book test? I recently learned Mark Paul's AAA book test. I am a fan of it. I definitely like it a lot, and I used it a bit in a couple of shows that I did. Worked very well. Only problem I ran into was one of the words that I knew they were thinking of. It was like a homonym. Yeah, so it was spelt the same, or spelt differently, but sounded the same as another word, and I couldn't remember. Yeah, because I just remembered the word, but I didn't remember the spelling. So I had to take a gamble on which spelling it was, and I kind of used some techniques. Like, again, you just gotta be quick on your feet. I just, I asked them, like, so one of these, I don't remember what word it was, but like, say one of them's like, let me think. So say the word ship. Oh no, that's spelled the same. Okay. What's a homonym? Come on the spot. I'm not gonna be able to think of one that fits the case that I want to give an example of here. I'm thinking of so many. I guess it's not a homonym if it's spelled. I think homonym has to be spelled different. Or no, homonym it's spelled the same. Whatever. Maybe I don't remember. It's been too long. But whatever it is. Basically, if there's a word that sounds the same but spelled different, I thought that was a homonym, but now I'm questioning if that's right. So homonym might be means something different. Anyway, point is, it had a different spelling depending on which one it was, but it sounded the same, right? Like there and there. Obviously that wasn't it, but I used like one was like kind of an object and one was like more of an action. So I asked like a simple question kind of about the object that was super broad, and she answered yes, so I knew she was thinking of that one, right? So that's just like a simple way to get out of it. But yeah, I love that effect. What is your favorite app? Ooh, let's go to the app folder. So my friends, here is the Magic app folder at the moment. And then we got some more over here. So you can pause that, take a look. But Wikitest, definitely my most used, hardest hitting. Earworm as well, those two are neck and neck. These days I've been loving doing Diverter. A little tricky because it requires an accomplice, but it's still great when I can do it. Inertia, super useful. These are all Mark Kirstein apps, so highly recommend. ISO is his new app. Need more time to play around with it. Haven't tried it yet. Honestly, not sure how much I'm going to use it because it doesn't really fit a whole lot of my style. But I just bought it because it's Mark, and I still see the power in it. Streets, another great app by Mark, but I just don't find myself using it. I don't know why. Something about it, some of the justifications I don't think are as good as Wikitest, and so it just doesn't fit. In a lot of cases I have used it, but it's more a once in a while thing, where Wikitest I do a lot. Timed Out is a fun free app that Mark put out. You should go check it out if you're on iOS. WebFX, great once in a while. I love Cognito. I know a lot of people have had issues with it and it not being updated and stop working and stuff. For me, it still works. I just love the adaptability. And I love the principle behind it. So if we're having a tool that can do most of the work for me behind the scenes and I can just let it do its thing, it's absolutely great. And then, here's a little secret. Okay, so you see that top one? It says Earworm Peak. So if you guys have Earworm and you know how it works, you can go into the app, find your API. So your API is the link that the information unique to you, your unique link that that piece of information, whatever the spectator is thinking of, is transmitted using that API. Now, if you copy that link from Earworm, open it in Safari, it will basically paste this actually I can show you. It'll basically look like a bunch of random text and code. But if you look right on the second line, it says candle right there. So that is actually the word the person's thinking of. And anytime it changes, the input changes, that will update. So now if you go and you hit the share button and you can add that to your home screen, you can now use Earworm as just a way to divine any piece of information rather than its actual use purpose where you're doing the song effect or whatever or other inputs. You can actually just use it as, write this down in your notes or whatever, show your friends, and then you can just use this API to figure out what the word is and divine it that way. So that's great. Then I have this cipher, which is another shortcut from the internet. That's a Peter Turner idea, which is very neat, but it's just like a kind of a website. It's not his website, just something I found. Echolocation, super cool. It uses AirPods and it's a which hand routine, and it uses the sensors in the AirPods to know which hand it's in. Very, very cool. I just don't use it because I don't want people touching my AirPods, and I think people probably don't want to touch my AirPods. I don't know, like hygiene, I don't know, not for me. So, but a very cool idea, and it's free. So definitely love a lot of those apps, some very good ones. Page 37, yeah, maybe if we have some time I'll take a look at page 37, but we're kind of getting long here. Do I have any goals as a magician? By the way, guys, yeah, if you want to ask any more questions, I will be wrapping up soon, but if the questions keep coming, then I will keep answering. So if you want me to go over anything on the card table or anything, let me know. Goals as a magician, honestly, yes. Right now, it's not my full-time job, but it is my side gig, and I want to continue to grow the business. Now that I've moved to a new city, I'd like to establish some more consistent gigs here. I absolutely like, my favorite thing to do, I love making these videos, but I also love the private lessons. They're just so much fun, so rewarding to be able to help you guys and really provide some one-on-one help. If you're interested, you can check them out at the link in the description. But I just want to continue to grow that side of the business too, grow the channel, do a lot more performing too, keep putting out videos. I just really enjoy all of that. So but ultimately, if one day I could make it something that I could sustain as a full-time income, that would definitely be awesome too. I only use it as an A-can effect. I do a number of full deck false cuts, false shuffles, set the deck down, ask for a number, then I hold my hand over the deck, I'm divining the card. I'm actually doing the calculation, it's really strong. Maybe a quick top change tutorial. Okay, cool, awesome. That's actually a very nice idea. I like that when you have your hand out, you can actually just do the math. So that's actually a genius justification. So love that. DS, I know you do private lessons. Will you be doing a Patreon or anything like that? Unfortunately, I don't really have money for private lessons. I don't know. I've thought about it, but I mean, I'd be open to hearing your opinions, you guys. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's my decision. But like, to me, there are some things that I am not going to teach on YouTube because I have plans of putting out a project with them. Like some of my best stuff, of course. But, okay, I could start a Patreon and put those out there. But, or I could just put out a project on my website. Like, I mean, you understand, like, the amount of content that I put out on YouTube, I'm pretty consistent. I've put out like 300 videos in the last 2 years or something. It's a lot of work. And for me to have another sort of channel where I'm trying to do different things and then make that worth, you guys paying money. Like, I do agree, a lot of the stuff I put on YouTube, I could probably charge for. I put out a lot of good stuff. I mean, I hear people tell me, so I know. But I'm happy to put some of this stuff out for free. Like, you guys do, building an audience does help me too. I get a little bit of money from AdSense, but not pennies, but it's not worth the amount of effort that goes into the videos. But, building up a platform is definitely helping me in my magic ventures, right, too, like having some credibility as a performer. And so, I don't know, like, I could start a Patreon, but I feel like I need more of a direction. Like, okay, do I just want to, like, teach more things and not put them on YouTube just to put them on Patreon, I mean, I probably would have been fine putting them on YouTube, a lot of things on YouTube that I'm now just going to make people pay for it to go on Patreon. Like, I don't know. I do need to think about it, but I definitely have a few project ideas. Like, there's an ACAN that I want to put out as a project. Again, I don't know if I want to go the route of a magic company or do it on my own. I'm kind of leaning towards doing it on my own. I have all the infrastructure in place. I have the website built. So, and you know, just be a cheap $5, maybe, well, since I'm in Canada and our Canadian dollar shit, probably $10 Canadian, little download of this ACAN that I love to do that I haven't taught. I don't even think I've performed it anywhere yet, but I'll get one of those soon. And then I have like a mentalism idea. I have a few courses. I think a course, like to answer your question about Patreon, I think a course is a better route for me, where I'm doing maybe like something like Pandrea did, where it's like maybe a 4 to 6 week course. Like I have a whole idea of a street magic course where like week 1 we can talk about like approaching and like getting confidence, and then week 2 we can talk about like sleights, week 3 tricks, week 4 maybe we talk about like some bonus ideas, and then like all the Q&A, and then all the things you guys want to learn as well. And then like we have like a 4-week course where we do like, I don't know, like live lessons or something, where it's like actually a course. That could probably be something that's maybe more affordable than the lessons. I understand it's pricey, but you know, I think it's a very fair price, my lesson price. You know, there are plenty of magicians who charge like $100, and you know, I think you get a lot of bang for your buck. You know, you can ask some of the people who've done them. I really, you know, I'll give you access to a bunch of like great, I have a compilation of a bunch of great free resources you can take a look at. And then a bunch of like, and then there's a bunch of like things that I just can't teach you through video, that one-on-one, like I can actually address your issues. So ultimately I think a course might be something. Like I've thought about doing a course on the cull. Right, a lot of people want to learn the cull, and I think that could be something useful, where we have like a course, you know, people sign up, you know, we do that. So those are some of my ideas. I also have like an idea of like doing a mentalism project where I modernize a bunch of classics, because I have a bunch of them that I've already done. So those are just some of my little ideas there. But all right, any other questions, guys? I'd love to hear if you have anything else to ask. Otherwise, I will probably get wrapping up soon. Oh, we did have a ask about the top change, so let me quickly give a few tips on the top change. Oh, that's the wrong button. That's the button. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, one-on-one lessons are worth it for the price. Yeah, I feel like it is. You know, I put a lot of effort, and you know, I'm usually, you know, definitely happy to talk about whatever it is you need. So top change, very useful move. I used to not like it, but then, you know, I got better at it, and I realized the power, especially using it as like a load, where you can load into like a double. You know, that's very helpful, going from a single card that the spectator signs to be able to take it back and load it, and then now have it as a double, right? So biggest thing with the top change is the more you kill your wrist. Like if I go super slow, but I'm like my wrist is like this, like completely vertical. I know it looks weird, but it's almost like, you know, invisible, especially if I turn my body. Like I can do it there. So you obviously don't want to go like this when you do it, but a little bit, just to where the point that this is at the eye line and they can't see the red, like the top of the deck, makes it invisible. Because now if everything's like this, you can see how now they only have like this millimeter to see change rather than the whole back. So all you do is you know, you want to be motivated, of course, get your break, and then, you know, point maybe with the deck hand, or point with this hand, and then as I like to point with the deck hand though, because then they come back together as I do it, and then I pull them apart, and then, you know, I gesture again. Maybe I'm turning from side to side as I do it, and then I point. It's just the hands together for a second, and then they come apart. And ultimately doing it in that off beat. Let me grab some water here. Starting to lose my voice, been talking for too long. Doing it in a moment where The heat isn't always on you is great, but my old handling for the simple 2-card transpo used to be spectator hands me the signed card back and I instantly do a top change, place their card on top, and then I have it loaded as the double to switch it out. So there was extreme heat on the moment that I was taking the card back, and I would just do this. And it was literally just like, you know, as simple as me like being hunched forward a little bit and standing up as I do that, like it all one action. So I take the card back, I'm leaned in a bit. Oh, I lost it there. So take the card back, lean in a bit, and I do it in that motion. The hands instantly come apart like everything's normal, and then I very quickly go into showing them that it's still their card, and you know they're none the wiser. So that's a few of my tips on the top change. My video on it though I think is really well done. I really like that video, so I would recommend you go check that out. So yeah, of course guys, if you aren't subscribed already, I kind of just want to show this off. By the way, private lessons, you can check them out at the website. Don't forget, of course, subscribe. See, I love my little animations. Worked hard on these. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, if you are not. But yeah, rfsleights.com, that's the website. Instagram too. I posted a lot of shorts over there, you know, continuing to grow the IG a little bit. It's not my main priority, but if you want to check that out too. Okay, so I see one more question, so this will probably be the last question unless any last things come in. But how do you get the confidence to perform in high school? Like I said, that wasn't something that I really did. I regret it. So if you're in high school, I highly recommend you perform. But I will give you some advice that comes to mind. Start with your friends. You know, you want to start with your family, then build your friends, and just build that confidence with the tightness of your relationships. Start with the people you're close with, build it out. So that would be my main thought to start, and then from there, people will get word, people will ask, people will want to see. You know, start with stuff that's surefire, you're very comfortable with. You know, practice, of course. And then just work that material. I think some of my How to Make Your Magic Better videos where I talk about like approaching strangers and like dealing with performance anxiety would be 2 videos that you could look at that would probably help a lot. But at the end of the day, I think starting small, doing tricks, just getting people to start talking about you, then people will start coming up to you asking to see magic. And when they do that, you already know they're interested. Easy, good to go. All right. I'm starting to lose my voice here, guys, so I think that is it. This was a great live stream, a lot of talking. I think we had a lot of great questions in here, and hopefully it was helpful, hopefully it was useful, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we got to share a couple of fun little effects and a little bit of tutorial action, which is always nice. So glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try to do this more frequently. Like, I definitely want to push for once a month, if not more frequent than that. But it is just a tricky thing to do. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are not already. Drop this a like on the video, you know, help some other people see it. And of course, if you do want to check out some private lessons or if you have any other questions, hit me up at my email if you have any questions, or if you'd like to sign up for a lesson, you can check out the link rfsleights.com. So guys, with all that said, you know, the usual. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next live, in the next video. New video in a few days. Stay tuned. Appreciate everyone who is here. Have a fantastic day.